Hello, everybody. C. Ray Brower here with your perfect home. And today we've got Michelle Johnson from the Hero Loan Team, and we are going to find out about TAPS and several other things. And that will be coming up next. And we're back. How's it going today, Michelle?
Oh, it's going great. How about you?
Just wonderful. Getting ready to jump on the big bird and head back to Kansas and get a little done back there. Got a couple of three things happening here it seems like every time I get ready to go to Kansas, all of a sudden things blow up here. So maybe I could go to Kansas more often.
That's so funny. I was talking to another realtor the other day who said, if you're ever needing to get some extra business, just plan a trip. And then
That's all you got to do.
That's all you got to do, plan a vacation. And then everybody wants to buy a home.
It's happened that way every time I've gone back to Kansas.
That's right. It's like, okay, why can't this happen when I get back? But,
it just costs a little bit extra to have somebody else show property for me. So, it all works out.
That's right. That's the nice thing about being a loan officer, being a real estate agent, is that there is a little bit more flexibility in this type of position than there are in some other jobs.
In some other jobs, exactly. But I get to do a few of these interviews from back there, too. So that'll be interesting again.
How long are you going to be in there?
Last time I was there, me and you were on, wasn't it?
That's right. We did one from your truck, I think.
Yeah, we're kind of in and out of the rain and in the truck. And
Yeah, I do remember that. I do. Yeah. Well, how long are you going to be in Kansas?
I don't have a date to come back yet. Was kind of thinking on the 29th, which is my bride's birthday. But she said, if you need to stay longer, it's okay. We can celebrate when you get back.
Oh, that's nice that she's so supportive.
We're kind of trying to decide. It'll kind of depend on how things go when we get back there. Got several things, balls in the air back there, balls in the air here.
Right. Trying to make it all work. Yeah. For sure. Right. Exactly. It's like there's flexibility, but it's a lot of work too.
It is.
Yeah.
And you got to make sure and keep the balls in the air at all times and make sure and still follow up and do all the things.
That communication so important. It's not enough for me to make sure that I'm handling everything correctly, but it's also I'm handling everything correctly and letting everybody know who's involved that things are being handled correctly. Exactly. Just checking in to tell you everything's fine. That's right.
The one I've got closing next week here has been a challenge. Call it a challenge.
Yeah.
The realtor that I'm working with is technically challenged. He's a full-time realtor. And so the first offer that they made, I got with no signatures on it. So that he never made that mistake again. Everything else has been snail mail.
Oh, no. Can I get that addendum? You got to be there in 4 to 7 days.
7 days, exactly.
No. He needs an assistant, a young, technologically advanced assistant.
That would probably help a little bit.
Yeah, because it's the way of the world. And it makes things so much easier, too. I mean, it's a gift and a curse, but...
Exactly. It is a gift and a curse. It is definitely can be a curse.
Yeah. But it does make things go faster, and it makes it easier for everybody to communicate with one another. But it can be really challenging, especially if the client or the other agent, or the loan officer, God forbid, is technologically challenged. Then we really have some issues. So.
Yep, exactly.
Right.
Fortunately, this one doesn't have.
We make it work.
This is
Oh,
all cash. So.
cash. Okay, well, at least you don't have that added component, because that would be like, oh no, this is never gonna.
Yeah, I could be using his old loan officer that is technologically challenged also.
I know. I'll drive those loan documents over to you. No, no.
Oh, Lord.
Anyway, yeah. Well, I'm sure you'll get it done. So.
Oh, yeah. We always get it done. Just keep stepping through the hoops and doing
That's
what you
right.
have to. And
What's next? What's next? What's next? Yep.
Okay. Oh, the mail came. Okay.
That's so you're checking the mail every day. I can't imagine.
Oh, yeah. It's been fun.
Yes, yes. Well, at least it'll get closed. Everybody will be happy and good to go.
Yep. There
Yeah.
you go. There you
Yeah, so you wanted to talk about my favorite charity
go.
today.
Your favorite charity, TAPS, exactly. That helps all the heroes. That's what we're here
That's
about. Is the
right.
heroes, right?
Yeah. So TAP stands for Tragedy Assistance Program for Survivors. And so kind of what they specialize in is like military families who are that their spouse has either been in, unfortunately deceased in combat or severely disabled in combat. And so, of course, we all honor our troops and love, are always so grateful for their service. But I think sometimes we forget what happens to the families who really are involved in this type of thing. And so, of course, it gives like financial assistance to the, the survivors, but also it has a lot of community involved, which we think is really important too, because for so many people who are in the military, it can be hard even if, you do survive, even if you're not physically disabled, to come out of that, combat mentality where you can't show any fear, you don't have any emotions, and come back into being a civilian and like dealing with maybe survivor's guilt, stuff like that. And this just kind of puts community for not only the veterans, but also their families. So they do a lot of like children's like sports leagues and events.
Very nice.
Yeah. And then there's, get-togethers for the families so they can kind of get to know one another and support one another, because there's nothing like having somebody who's sort of been through something, maybe not exactly the same as you, but something that is very similar in tragedy. And that can really create a bond and really help other people just to feel like I'm not the only one feeling this way. I'm not alone. And talking about to just, well, is it normal to feel this way? And, and yeah, so TAPS kind of does all of that. So that's kind of, the gist of it. And if you go to their website, which is just taps.org, TAPS.org, there's actually a calendar of events that happens. And sometimes for the wives or husbands of the deceased, a lot for the children, things for the entire family, like retreats and just a lot of different types of things for young adults, things for children, like family camps, stuff like that. So just a ton of stuff that they're doing just to create that community and create that support, give any kind of financial assistance that they're also needing. So it's just a really great resource.
Very, very nice. And you were saying that, it also, even if they weren't the PTSD, which I have started calling it just PTS, because it isn't really a disability. It is
right.
Truly something that's happened to them. I was, God, what's it been now? 4 years ago. Oh man, now I can't say his name. Don't you hate that? It'll come to me, hopefully.
Yeah, you'll remember it at the end. You'll be like, oh yeah.
But he does a one-man show
Oh, okay.
that deals with soldiers, veterans, all the way from the Civil War up to
Oh.
Afghanistan.
Oh,
And he
wow.
plays all the different roles. He plays the housewife, he
Okay.
plays the child, he plays the veteran. It's an amazing, amazing thing, the American soldier. God, I can't say his name. And I'm sorry. I know you'll end up watching this, and I'm sitting here trying to come up with your name, and it's killing me. But it is a great cause. It's a great thing to honor those that have been through it. But it is not a disorder, and that's post-traumatic shock disorder, and they call it a disorder, but really it isn't. It is something that they're really truly going through. And I had a very good friend of mine that was a Marine in Vietnam, and he always flew off the handle, right? I mean, he'd fly off the handle for the littlest thing. And it was just always him, it was always him. It was not it didn't bother me. Some people it really bothered, but it never bothered me. But I'm a different kind of soul anyway. But it was many, many, many years after I hadn't seen him for a lot of years. And he came into the shop when I owned the transmission shop, and he was working kind of part-time at one of the other shops in town. And he told me, that he'd been on disability for PTSD, PTS, and that it had been found out when he went in for, I don't remember, eyes, ears, whatever. He went in for a checkup, and he was flipping out. And a doctor happened to walk by and stopped and asked his wife, is this? And she goes, yeah, every one of those. We need to get him in. And, since then he's now calmed down and under care, and has gone through the steps to help alleviate that problem. Right. So it's great to hear that there's actually organizations outside of the healthcare industry, because so often healthcare doesn't really address issues unless somebody either knows they have a problem or they can actually step forward, and somebody steps forward like this doctor did and offer assistance. So great to hear
Yeah,
that he's
so
out there doing that.
true. Yeah, so true. And often too, it's like even when like they go to the VA hospital. My husband is a veteran. The president of Hero Loan Team is also a veteran. And so a lot of times when they're going to the VA hospital, they're getting these disabilities and things like that. There's a very limited amount of what they're offering. They're offering, like, is it medication to control anxiety, depression? And maybe they'll offer some therapy, although that's harder to get. But the other side of that is, what about community? What about other people who are going through what you're going through, and it being okay to express that, because it's just the opposite of what they're told the entire time they're in the military. And as the world sort of changes, I think that that's changing a little bit, definitely from Vietnam veterans to Afghanistan veterans. But still there's an element of it that in the Army, like, it's really not very beneficial for you to really express and lean into fear in any way. You really have to, in a war scenario, of course, I haven't been, not speaking from personal experience, but you can't get involved in that. It has to be something that you're just completely blocking out. And it's just, like, people are dying around you, and you just have to keep moving. So when you come back to change that mentality from like, nope, it's not actually happening and I'm not affected by it, to saying, yeah, these things did happen to me. and they are going to affect me. And there are other people who feel the same way that I do. And how can we help that? And I think community is a really, really big part of that. Just like having groups of people that have been through the same or similar things, and being able to say, like, it's okay. It's okay that we have this post-traumatic stress. It's okay that we talk about it. It's okay to not be okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And it doesn't have to be a war situation. I've also got a friend up in the hills. She does a lot of holistic stuff, and she helps people with PTSDs. And one of the ones that she was talking to me many years ago was a lady had been standing at the gas pump filling up her car, and a truck backed in to deliver stuff to the place and rolled her down the side of her car,
my
and it pinched her
gosh.
in between, broke her hip, broke her leg, I don't know,
Scary.
severe, put her in the hospital, right? She gets out and she couldn't get behind the wheel. She could not get in the car, even though she wasn't in the car when it happened, but she couldn't get behind the wheel to go out places because of that post-traumatic shock. And went through several sessions with my friend, and after I think it was 6 months, she was able to actually now drive and go do things and start living a closer to normal life. Right.
Yeah. And I think that's such a good point that you bring up, because PTS can be a part of so many people's lives, and what is traumatic to you is traumatic to you, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be qualified or classified, and well, it's not as bad as what this other person went through, so why do you feel that way, kind of thing. And it's like, no, if your house was broken into while you were there, or like a lot of these fields, when we have law enforcement, firefighters, even education and medical, like there are situations for a lot of these people that they get into that can be very traumatizing, not being able to save somebody from a fire, law enforcement. Oh my God, don't get me started on that. But even education, having caring for these children and maybe having them go home to a home that's unstable and not, conducive for learning or even for surviving, and not being able to do anything. Or, my sister, she's a nurse, a hospice nurse, and walks people through that death process, and the trauma that comes from that, getting close to these individuals and then them passing away and dealing with their families. So there's just so many ways that can affect people. And yeah, it's nice to have like at least one, organization that's doing something for that type of thing.
Right. And does TAPS also work with the first responders and stuff, or are they strictly
No,
military?
they are military. So yeah, they're basically a military, but they do a lot with suicide prevention, which is really important, grief counseling and stuff like that. So it would have resources for other people, whether you're military or not. Just like if you want to deal with some grief, maybe your husband didn't die in action, but he, died actually like as a police officer, or something of that nature. Yeah, you could go there, you could check out their suicide prevention information, you could go to their grief counseling information, and trying to figure out like what resources could you also benefit from if you're not military.
Very nice, very nice. Yeah, because it definitely, there's so many things in life, like you said, everything is traumatic to everybody in a different way.
That's right.
And we all deal with difficulties in a different way. Some of us can deal with a lot of them. Some of us can't deal with anything. It's just that's what makes life so great. We're all so different, and that's what makes the world go round. Is the fact that we are different, and we have the ability to help others if we will open ourselves up to helping others.
Yeah, exactly. That's absolutely true. And a lot of these people in these hero fields, like that's really what they're doing. They're dedicating their whole life. They're dedicating their careers to helping other people. And so what can we do to give back to them? How can we help you, the people who give of themselves every day and put themselves in dangerous situations or emotionally taxing situations, like our educators, for example, and not really getting paid what they really should, and yet they do it day in and day out and continue to guide our youth and be those pivotal, those pillars for the youth, because a lot of times, like, that's what they have. If they're not in a good home situation, they don't live in a good neighborhood, pretty much everybody can remember that one teacher that
was there. Yeah.
For them.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if I've shared with you on this or previously. I know I've shared it a lot. I was the original Similac baby.
Oh.
Born in 1956, I was allergic to all milk.
Oh,
I had a
wow.
vitamin K deficiency, so I required 3 shots a day to stay alive.
Oh.
My mom said I didn't dirty enough diapers as I was coming. Now, I had an older sister who was stillborn.
Oh.
And so when my mom started telling doctors that I had these other problems, they knew about the vitamin K. They knew about I needed Similac. I couldn't have any milk. But when she says you're not dirty enough diapers, you're just a worried young mother that doesn't understand. You just don't understand. He's fine. He's fine. And I went through the first 4.5 years of my life. Anytime my parents had enough money to take me to the doctor, because Dad didn't have insurance back then, they'd take me and they'd check me out and there's nothing wrong. And at 4.5, almost 5 years old, right before kindergarten, I actually became septic and almost died because, yes, I wasn't dirtying enough diapers, because 2 foot of my small intestine had no nerve endings to do its job. And I backed up into my stomach and almost died.
Oh my God.
So I, spent a lot of time in the hospital, and I had a little stutter previous to all of this. Coming out of the hospital, I stuttered really bad. I ended up in first grade behind and with a stutter, and having a colostomy, which, unlike today, there's no bag. It was a diaper. And I had to get up every morning and have a enema before I went to school, so that I didn't dirty the diaper in school, even though it felt like I was. It was a very traumatic time in my life.
Oh yeah,
But
absolutely.
that teacher, my first grade teacher, took me home every day and worked with me. I got rid of my stutter. You wouldn't know I had a stutter from back then. I got caught up in school and went ahead and ended up here today.
Yeah, right, exactly. And that's the thing. Like, those are the things that our teachers do for the country. And it's so admirable and so priceless.
Yeah. Because, if I had a different teacher,
right,
where would I be today? I'd still be stuttering. We wouldn't be talking, because I wouldn't have enough confidence to get on camera because I stutter so bad. You just never know where life is going to take you. And those people are put in our lives. And I know I've said this before, they're put in our lives for 3 things only. God puts people together for 3 things. I don't care how you look at it. One's to learn something, one's to teach something, and the third is to learn something while you teach something.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's us. That's life in a nutshell right there.
Yeah, definitely. And that is why we do what we do. That's why we're always wanting to see what there is out there for the hero individual, and try to give back at least a little something. We can never, like for that experience that you had, like, never could we give back enough to make that difference. But at least maybe that teacher can get into a home when he or she didn't think that they could, because maybe their, debt to income ratio is too high for other lenders. Well, let's get you that. Let's get you that exception, or, I can't quite afford my house payment with this rate. Well, let's see if we can't find you a rate concession. Like what can we do to help you kind of realize your dreams, because you're helping so many other people realize theirs.
Very, very nice. Very nice.
Mm-hmm.
Michelle, we're getting close to the end of our time. I really appreciate you coming on. I didn't put the scroll on the bottom today. So if you could tell everybody how they could get hold of you, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. You can always reach out to Ray as your agent, and he'll get you in touch with me, of course. But heroloanteam.com, super easy to get there. Very not uncomplicated website. And then, of course, you can always call me directly at 559-314-6760. And then if you want to check out the charity we've been talking about, taps.org.
That's very good. Thank you again, Michelle. Everybody, you go out and be the sunshine in somebody's rainy day. Remember, see Ray to find your perfect home. Like, share, and ring the bell on whichever platform you are. Please come back and see us again next month, because Michelle will be here with something new and exciting. Thanks again, Michelle.
Thanks a lot.